because there's no safe level of air pollution. Air pollution accumulates in our body, causes chronic conditions like cancer, like cardiovascular disease. The lower the better, and that's why the WHO thresholds are there to protect the population.
I'm trying to wrap my head around this, because while you say 1.5, 1.7 million, the government of India actually says 0. They're not stopping there. They are going out to say that air pollution levels, what WHO has is just an advisory. India needs to have its own AQI levels. What's your thought on that?
Well, look, one problem with air pollution is, as we always say, it's a silent killer. And what is true, that this is perhaps what the government is leaning on, is that there's only, to my knowledge, one death certificate in the world that links a death to air pollution in the death certificate. That is little Ella in London. Other than that, it's a risk factor, it's an environmental risk factor. And what people will be dying of in the death certificates is, for example, of a stroke, of an ischemic heart disease, is of cancer. But all of these diseases are linked to air pollution. And those deaths might not have occurred if it were not for the chronic and acute exposure to very, very high levels of toxic air pollutants. So while you won't see it in the death certificates, the underlying cause we know is there, is that environmental, as we say, risk factor for deaths. And the WHO thresholds are there to help countries protect their populations. There are thresholds that come from studies, from scientific studies, linking air pollution with deaths, with disease, and finding what is considered a relatively safer threshold. And I say safer because there's no safe level of air pollution. Air pollution accumulates in our body, causes chronic conditions like cancer, like cardiovascular disease, it's linked to diabetes, it's linked to neurological diseases, to cognitive diseases. So therefore, ideally, we won't have exposure to air pollution, but the lower the better. And that's why the WHO thresholds are there to protect the populations. They're scientifically grounded, and they're the target that all countries should be aspiring to meet. Obviously, those targets are political targets, and India is decided to put a much higher threshold from what I hear. Unfortunately, that would mean that the diseases facing people, the level of damage caused by air pollution will be higher than it would have been otherwise if those international standards were respected.